Hello, everybody. I am Brandy Kelly. I'm a superintendent on a mission to lead with hope and to help my fellow educators do the same. The Lead with Hope podcast is a bi-weekly podcast that will inspire and empower you to lead with hope. Check out my website at leadwithhope.net. This morning, I am proud to introduce my friend Alex T. Valencic. He's an educator, a former small business owner, Boy Scout, volunteer drug prevention specialist, an unrepentant bibliophile, and a geek of all things. Welcome to the podcast, Alex.
Thanks for having me.
So we're going to start out with one of my favorite questions. I love to connect with educators and I love to hear your story. So start out this morning by telling us your story, who you are, and why you became an educator.
Yeah. So I'm Alex Valencic, and sometimes I like to just say, I'm just me. I am who I am. I'm very proud of the fact that as far as I've been able to tell, I am the only Alex T. Valencic in the world. Like, I Google my name frequently, and I'm the only one who ever pops up. So that's why I'm like, I'm me. But, education is it's been a part of who I am for almost my entire life. I mean, starting when I was in fourth grade, and our teacher would have us do like peer editing of writing, and all my classmates would want to come to me and be like, Alex, we want you to look at our work because you don't just tell us like what we need to fix, but you'll help us understand why we need to fix it. And it's like, oh, okay. And then when I was 13, one of my favorite things is that my Sunday school teacher for my class of 13-year-olds never showed up one week. So I just went to the church library and said, hey, I need the lesson manual for the 13-year-old Sunday school class. They gave it to me. I sat down and I taught my class. And that went on for about 6 months. And then after roughly 6 months, our Sunday school president was walking by and he saw this group of 13-year-olds in the room with no adult. And he's like, hey, where's your teacher? And everyone in the class, which incidentally included his son, was like, Alex is our teacher. And he's like, no, he isn't. He's a member of the class. And it's like, well, I've been teaching for the last 6 months, so I think it means it's my job. And he's like, no, you're not supposed to be teaching. There's supposed to be an adult in here. The next week they had an adult, but I never gave up education. I through process of kind of that normal pathway of going to school, getting a degree in elementary education. I graduated, spent 3 years as a substitute teacher, which I tell people all the time, if I could have gotten a job as like a full-time substitute teacher, had all the salary and benefits, I totally would have loved doing that. Just knowing every day, going in a different place, interacting with new students and new staff. But fortunately, substitute teachers, you just get paid a daily rate and you don't get the very important healthcare benefits. So I got a full-time job teaching fourth grade, which was my lifelong dream. I felt for a long time, like since I was in fourth grade, it's like, I'm going to be a fourth grade teacher and I'm going to be a fourth grade teacher the rest of my life. Like, I'm going to be the 90-year-old teacher who's been in the same classroom for 70 years and just drops over and dies in the middle of a lesson. And that's going to be my life. And it's like, maybe that's a bit morbid, probably isn't the best life goal to have. And somewhere along the line though, I had several different mentors of mine tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, you need to go into school leadership. That's where you'll really be able to thrive. You're wonderful in the classroom, but it takes a special kind of person to go into school leadership. Not all great teachers can be great leaders. And so because of that, they really encouraged me to start pointing myself in that direction. I spent a lot of time observing school leaders and noticing the things I wanted to do and the things I was like, if I were in that position, what would I do differently? And that really kind of came to a head for me when I came to my current position in the Freeport School District. And I remember very early on having a conversation with a team and asking, why don't we offer any kind of professional development outside of regular school hours, like district institute days, school improvement days, that's all. And someone said to me, well, we don't offer it because nobody comes to it. And I was like, well, how are they supposed to come to something that we're not even offering to them? So I made it a goal to be able to open that door to start creating a system where teachers could take advantage of opportunities to learn and grow outside the regular school hours if they wanted to. And that that led to me getting the current role in my district as our professional learning coordinator, where I get to spend all my time really focused on what can I do to help the teachers in the district learn how to teach better. And that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I love that. Your job is kind of my dream job. Just focusing on professional learning to positively impact teaching and learning. I mean, that to me sounds like a lot of fun, and I hope we can come back to that. But before we talk more about professional learning in your current job, think back to that fourth grade classroom. Who was your teacher, and what impact did that teacher have on your life?
My fourth grade teacher was Miss Kathy McNamara. We all called her Miss Mac, and she is the reason I went into education. I mean, is back then, I mean, it was like 1993, 1994. A lot of the things that she did then today seem like just common practices in classrooms. There was a lot of project-based learning. I never heard it called that. There was a lot of focus on inquiry and student-driven instruction. And for me, that was an eye-opener of what school could be, with nothing against my kindergarten, first grade, second grade, or third grade teachers, but I feel like they had a much more just like traditional approach to teaching of the teacher told you what to do and you as the students did it. I got into this fourth grade classroom where instead of desks, we had tables. We weren't assigned to sit anywhere. It was flexible seating before flexible seating was a thing. There was more often of like floor lamps instead of bright fluorescent lights overhead. And like now, like I said, like you go into classrooms and that just seems to be the norm. But Miss Mac really just opened up the door for me to be able to explore who I was and feel like I was being valued as an individual and as someone who had my own unique traits in places where I could learn and grow and allow that to shine. Like, I don't think she ever told me any of my ideas were terrible. So it just really helped me feel empowered to pursue my own learning. And that was the kind of teacher that I aspired to be. And I hope that when I was in the classroom, I hope that I gave tribute to her in the way I did my work.
Yeah, I love that. I think Miss Mack was your first mentor in education, and then you talked about the power of the other mentoring relationships that you had later in your life, and it has helped you to become who you are. And now you're making that impact on a number of teachers and students through your job as a professional learning coordinator. So that kind of leads me into the second question that I have. My construct of Lead with Hope. It's a system of self-efficacy, and H stands for habits, O for optimistic outlook, P for passion, purpose, and perseverance, and E for excellence. I'm curious, what resonates with you and why?
No, Fred, I think that that optimistic outlook is really what guides the work I do. Well, yes, I have to be realistic about where we're at and where we want to go, but the optimistic outlook is where I'm constantly pushing myself and others to go further. So I go back to that wanting to have professional learning opportunities that were outside the minimum of what we offered. I was very fortunate to have a new superintendent and a new associate superintendent who they shared this vision and they encouraged it. And we started something, to me, it's the very simple of let's offer book studies that are self-paced. So teachers can sign up, we'll provide them with the book, give them discussion prompts. We can do it online so they can use discussion boards and we don't even have to try to get everyone's schedules to magically sync up with each other because that's nearly impossible, especially when we're in a large EC12 district. And we started with just offering a handful of book studies. We're now 3 years into this, and right now, at my last count, I have almost a fourth of the staff in the district are signed up for at least one online self-paced book study, which when I consider that when I first came into the district 6 years ago, we had 0 because we weren't offering it, and now we're up to almost a fourth. It's that optimistic outlook that my assistant superintendent and I, we did a PD workshop on it, and we refer to it sometimes as our field of dreams approach to PD, that we said, if we build it, they will come. And they did in spades. Teachers were like, yes, this is what we want to do. It's something that feels like it's not a huge draw on their time and energy because we're saying you can do this on your own time. If you want to read the book and be done with it in 5 days, awesome. If you want to take 5 years, that's okay too. Like it's allowing you to do that. And it gets me excited about that. It's just seeing people signing up to do something, but also having teachers now. I get emails where someone's like, hey, I just read this book. Could we do this as a book study in the future? Could we reach out to the author and see if they could do like a quick Zoom session with us and just talk about what they do? Like, hey, I was at a conference and I learned about this topic from this presenter. I know that maybe we can't bring the presenter, but can I do a workshop and just share what I learned at a Next Institute Day? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. That's what we want. We want to be able to build that collective efficacy within our district of teachers empowered to teach and lead one another. And it starts with that optimistic outlook of, if we offer it, they will take advantage of it. They will want to do it. But if we don't offer it to them, we can't get upset with them for not doing a thing that we're not even giving them the chance to do.
Oh, that's so true. And I think professional development is so necessary, especially good professional development. You know, we're all looking for ways to learn and to grow. And what I'm hearing you say is that in your district, you are inspiring and empowering teachers to not only build collective teacher efficacy, but also to invest in themselves and build their own self-efficacy, which is where collective teacher efficacy starts. So I am curious, how do you lead with hope in your personal life?
You know, it's when I listen to podcasts, I start at the very beginning. I listen to every single episode. So like Brandy, I've listened to every episode that you've released up to the time we're recording this. And I don't remember exactly when it was. It may have come up more than once where, you know, there's that common phrase in school leadership of hope is not a strategy.
Right.
And my superintendent, she says that, but then she follows up with hope is not a strategy. Hope is our objective. What we want is to instill hope in our students, in our community, in our families. It's not the strategy, it is the goal. So for me, leading with hope at school, at work, in life is knowing that if we want that hope, what are we doing to put into place that we can create the opportunities for that? And for me, a lot of it just comes with recognizing that it can't be about me. It's got to be about creating a system where the doors are open for everyone. I'll frequently say to people that, you know, the reality is that it's a bright, sunny day right now. I could go outside to walk my dog and a truck could come down the hill, lose control, and they could hit me and something catastrophic could happen. But the work should be able to continue without it depending on me being the person who's there. So I mean that leading with hope is, what are the systems that we're building and putting into place that someone else could walk in, pick it up and say, yes, I understand what this is and I can continue on because we have that shared vision. And that becomes that second part. We have the system, then we have the shared vision. What do we want to accomplish at the end? What are we putting into place to open the door to give others that opportunity? And I'd like to say that I do that not just in like my professional work, but in my family. I mean, my family, it's small. Like my immediate family is me and my wife, but you know, with her siblings, my siblings, our parents, it's like constant just like, it's one thing to say, oh, as the family gets bigger and we spread out across the country and now around the world, because my baby sister moved to Australia a couple of years ago, which is just like, oh, wow, okay, like she's on the other side of the world. And we're like, how do we stay connected? Well, it's not enough to just say, well, we hope we'll be able to. Right. We create things to maintain those connections by, you know, as simple as having group chats that we have on like Facebook Messenger and text messages, to creating traditions for ourselves, or there's holidays. And like this summer, we know we're going to go camping with some of my brothers and their families because that's something we do every year. So it's that, to me, it's all about, it's reaching that objective of that hope and that positive outlook.
Yeah.
By starting with those very simple, putting things in place so that it can actually happen.
Absolutely. The systems, the shared vision, those are very, very powerful ideals that we in leadership need to capitalize on to help produce better outcomes for our students. And, you know, talking about hope as a strategy or not as a strategy, through my work, I have done a lot of research, and Dr. Snyder was the first person that I really started researching in terms of his work on a theory of hope. He talks about a theory of hope as action. It's both willpower and way power. So it's that motivation or that agency, and then also a pathway or a plan, as you talked about. And whenever you put a plan into place and you have that expectation that it's going to happen, that can be so powerful because it does fuel, as you were talking about earlier, that optimism within us. And when we have that optimism for something better in the future, then anything is possible. And I think the educators that are in, especially public education right now, they have to have that hope because public education right now is tough. But we know collectively with good people, with the right people, that shared vision and those systems, we can accomplish great things because we're doing it for the right reasons. We're doing it for our kids.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it really does get down to is what are we doing to create that world that our students that they can inherit from us?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell me about your most recent project, something that is fueling your passion right now.
So being the professional learning coordinator in the district, I feel like I get to just have like my hands in everything. It's like I'm part of our curriculum and instruction department, but I work closely with pupil personnel services, special education, and I work closely with the technology department, and I get to work closely with the human resources department. And I even get to have really interesting conversations with people in business and finance, which I think most teachers have like no clue what business and finance really does in their district. Like they're just like, if my check shows up in my bank account on the right day, then someone's doing their job, and that's all they really need to. That's all they really worry about. But one thing that allows all of these things to come together is our new teacher mentoring program that we have. And I've been so blessed to be able to work with a phenomenal leadership team in developing this program over the last 3 years. It's been in place in a very long time. And the people who did the work beforehand, we are very much standing on the shoulders of giants, of those individuals who created a mentoring program in our district. That just a little bit of that background, the Illinois State Board of Education and the Illinois Educators Association, like they created this virtual mentoring program. Mm-hmm. And we had a conversation with them and we showed them what we were doing in our program. And they're like, you don't need us. Like you're already doing all the things that a mentoring program should be doing. So with that, within this project, we've realized we've put in so many supports to help our new teachers, not just new to the career, but new to our district, to support them and help them feel like they are just have all these resources wrapped around them from day one. But we're now looking and saying, well, how do we do that same thing for the mentors in the district? The ones who are giving of their time. Yes, they're being paid to be mentors, but they give a lot of time and energy to pour into the new teachers. What are we doing to pour into them? And so that's a current project, is really looking at how can we better support our teacher mentors, which for me, that means I'm doing a whole lot of reading from a whole lot of people about developing mentors. What is the role of a mentor? And then how can I help them feel that support? And part of that's going to be being able to bring a team to a conference in June that is happening here in Illinois, specifically for mentoring and leadership programs in the mentoring field. So I'm really excited about where this is going to go, that we've built the structures and the systems to support the new teachers. And now we're saying, okay, what are we going to do to support the people who are mentoring them so that they can continue to feel that passion and that excitement about the work that they're doing? So
that mentoring excuse me, Alex, that mentoring program sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's, and it seems like that little thing, but like I said, we pay the mentors for what they're doing. We give them the resources, but we need to figure out what can we do better to wrap around them. And yeah, I just love when I ask mentors to share with me, every month, what's a highlight of what's happened with you and your mentee? Mm-hmm. And I get these comments like, oh, this new teacher is just amazing relationships with her students. It inspires me to build relationships with my students. This teacher just dug like dove headfirst into new curriculum that was very challenging, and they're helping me learn new things. I love being able to see that, and something I am so proud of that this year we hired about 60 new teachers in the district. And while we know at the end of the year there's teachers who move to other roles for a whole lot of reasons, but so far this year we've had one of those 60 new hires who had left mid-year, and it was because of the role she was in, had the opportunity to move to a different role that better aligned with the expertise that she had. So I looked at them like, we have like 98% of our new hires who are still in the district in March.
Wow.
And that says a lot about this project and how we're supporting our new teachers and their mentors.
Yeah. And especially, I mean, that's a powerful recruitment and retainment, procedure that you have implemented in your district. So kudos. I am super excited to hear more about that, maybe at a later date. But as we're wrapping up this podcast today, Alex, where can my listeners connect with you if they want to hear more about your work?
The easiest thing, like I'm on all of the social media platforms, so almost all of them. Like I don't do Snapchat or TikTok, but pretty much if you look for Alex T. Valencic, you're going to be able to find me. You don't even have to spell my name correctly. Like if you get most of the letters pretty close, you can find me. And social media is the easiest way to connect with me. I don't have my own website, but so like say, just put Alex T. Valencic into the Google search bar and you'll see a picture of me with a white bow tie and like my bright blue shirt and my black vest standing in front of a shelf full of tabletop games. That's me. And if you don't find the picture, then you somehow found not me, which I haven't had happen yet. So just Google my name and, I'm always willing to connect with anyone.
So you're Googleable. Is that a word?
Yep.
Googleable?
Googleable. We're going to go with it.
There we go. Well, Alex, thank you so much for coming on the Lead with Hope podcast today. And I am thrilled that we connected a few years ago on the Teach Better Network. And I will continue to follow you and connect with you in regards to your professional learning. I think we can all learn from you. And you have a one-of-a-kind personality. And I thank you for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Have a great day. Leading with Hope is an intentional practice requiring self-reflection and self-awareness. Check out my website at leadwithhope.net and subscribe to my monthly newsletter. My newsletter provides 3 tips, 2 quotes, and 1 question that will help you build self-efficacy and lead with hope. Thanks for tuning in today, and have a great day.